Yes, Matt, welcome to LinkedIn Live. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. And you? Thank you for having me. Great to see you again.
Yes, it's the every week we're doing or every second week we're doing, be recognized as an expert. So we had last week we spoke about becoming an author. The week before that we were talking about positioning ourselves. And this week, again, because it's the hot topic with everybody, we want to talk about LinkedIn. And, yourself and myself, we would have many chats on posts and DMs and profile and all the wonderful things about LinkedIn and AI as well. And there's some stuff coming up about AI, which a lot of people, some are going to like, some aren't going to like, because it's starting to deflate the little bubble in some cases as well.
Mm,
There's one thing I'm going to ask you, since we're on the topic of LinkedIn. Everyone is complaining about LinkedIn slop, but everyone is creating LinkedIn slop. What's your
it's
opinion?
like a dog chasing its own tail, I guess. Um, I think, yeah, unfortunately, I think the bar is very low right now for creating content, and I feel, unfortunately, people perhaps take advice from the wrong people and they spray and pray and just post for the sake of it when they're not really even building with intention. And I think if you really don't understand your positioning, what you're trying to post for, it's very hard to come off perhaps authentic. So I think people are struggling with how to, let's say, strike the fair balance of AI. Rather use it to optimize, not to create.
Yeah, do you know the the funny thing about it is I've been on LinkedIn and I keep saying this from the year dot, and I've sent 52,000 DMs, um, probably over 2,500 posts, etc. And what we used to be able to do in 2019 to what you can do now is has totally changed. And one of the things, because of AI, it's flooded the feed, so the bar has changed. There's more
Hmm.
people posting stuff, and
Hmm.
we're trying. We're just most people are on their phones, so it's just this screen that you're catching it on, and some of the stuff are missing out on. And there's a way around that, and I'll explain that to people today. And the other one is there's just a lot of garbage being pumped in as well.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something there, Matt, and you said, people have to understand, who they're looking for, and before we came on, we spoke about keywords. So, in your opinion, how
Yeah.
do you think that LinkedIn has changed, and what are some of the things that people should use to get their ranking back up again?
Mm-mm. I think definitely a lot of people have noticed a change on the platform. I think first it's a good change. If anyone's listening to this that feels damn, is this going to actually help my business? Am I going to grow my brand on here? And the small accounts essentially are now in the driving seat, which is awesome. And I think around your question now, around just the overall positioning and the importance of knowing who to target, I think first of all, and that is the question, right? To make sure like how to target the right people, right? And like what we're seeing with the change, just to be sure.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So I think it comes down strongly first to positioning, and it's all about making sure through your content you can really show others that you understand their world. And what I mean by that is, are you able to show them the mess? Are you then able to slowly agitate them and then eventually show them the solution through your way of doing things? So I like to always say, also have a content enemy. And let's say both of you, both yourself and I, we're both in sales. And when it comes to sales, we know right now that an enemy on LinkedIn is automation and AI. So if you remind people, for example, through your content, if you don't learn how to write for your actual client and you're relying on spray and pray, you're sending automations and DM templates, you're not going to stand out as a human. You're not going to come off authentic. So it's all about writing content that speaks to the actual people's pain points and problems. And then at the same time, I guess, going after the right people. So using Sales Nav, finding those right people on LinkedIn. Unfortunately, I just think because there's a mass of creators flooded on LinkedIn now, and some of them get real huge reach, which is, yeah, fair play to them. But at the same time, if you are a business owner, you have to ask yourself the question, are you trying to win a brand endorsement with like selling your audience size, or are you trying to grow a business? And if the question is grow a business, then you need to throw vanity metrics out the window because you only need, especially in B2B, we know with the high ticket sale price, you only need one or two of the right people to say yes for you then to make, let's say, a slight monumental shift with your business. But at the same time, it also takes a while. It takes that slow burn approach. And unfortunately, I think people try to look for quick wins. By now, I need to add this buzzword to my strategy or my design because now it's suddenly going to make me different. Meanwhile, I just truly believe on LinkedIn, like simple is more essentially.
Yeah, I think everybody is trying to be a wordsmith, and
Yeah.
we're trying to create that message that pops out where when we look at copywriting, it has to be something that is simple. It's something that creates or ticks an emotional charge in the person for them to act. And
Hmm.
if we try and be too clever, it just confuses the shit out of people, really
Exactly.
and truly. And the way I think AI, not AI, I think LinkedIn is at a very difficult crossroads because, in my opinion, they are messing around with the algorithm so much. It's like the man that killed the goose that laid the golden egg.
Mm,
There's a lot of people who pay for LinkedIn, say a navigator. And it used to be if you paid for LinkedIn Navigator, you would get more impressions and you would bypass a lot of it. What's happening is that they're playing around with it, that I have spoke to a lot of people who are just pissed off, and they're getting to
mm,
the stage now that their efforts are being changed because someone in LinkedIn has flicked a switch, and that switch has affected them. And they may go to alternative. So that's where I say LinkedIn, trying to be clever may actually shoot themselves in the foot. What's your thoughts on that?
mm. No, I think it's interesting because I know when you look at LinkedIn too, it's quite a old platform and it's kind of in a way I guess evolved into something that they perhaps didn't foresee when they first built it, and a lot of it is said by that with their legacy software. You can see how clunky and hard Sales Navigator is to navigate. It's ironic that navigates in the word because it's very difficult. And same with the platform too. You can see they make slight incremental changes to the platform, but I don't think they can make any monumental shifts per se. And my take is I just feel like LinkedIn is it's a platform a bit all over because I don't know if you saw in they're rolling it out first in America, which is really exciting because it shows they're supporting creators or let's say more of your solo entrepreneurs, advisors, consultants that have loads of wealth to give to people. But eventually you can now book in a session with someone and pay someone for, let's say, 30 minutes of their time through LinkedIn. So that's an interesting one because the only two other things that they monetize is premium and sales navigator. And now they're bringing in a section where I assume they'll take some form of commission or take a percentage of the value that goes through for the call. But yeah, all in all, I agree with you. Like the platform is all over the show, and sometimes it does create a bit of resentment for certain people on the platform. I mean, I know creators that have an audience of over 100K on here, and they almost lost their hopes with LinkedIn. So I think is a very interesting time. Hopefully they do decide they're on a direction and stick with it. But then saying that too, with my content, I feel I've been having quite a lot of luck lately. So it is always going to be mixed signals. I think the one thing you have to get comfortable with on LinkedIn is that you can't just pay someone to come up with a monthly strategy and just do that for the rest of the year. It's a platform that consistently requires you to iterate, innovate, and ensure that you're always being a bit nimble and willing to trial and error things and quickly learn on your feet, essentially.
Yeah, what was working last year is definitely not working this year.
No.
And we look at it not now on a yearly basis, but or not even on a quarterly basis. We're looking at it on a monthly basis because even some of the stuff that worked last month may not work next month, and
Mm,
then the stuff that worked 2 months ago may work worse than the month down the road. So yeah, it's volatile. It's very volatile. However, I do believe that if you are homing in on a industry,
Yep.
maybe that is, tech, or, it's manufacturing, or, engineering, or solo entrepreneurs, you have to stick in that lane and stay in that lane. And then it's talk how those people feel, use the language that is being used in that industry. So the algorithm then is picking up and going, okay, this is a person talking about X industry. They're using words that I, as the algorithm AI, can recognize to that industry. So I'm going to put that out in front of people as well.
Mm, mm.
Also, if you look at the likes of Facebook or look at the likes of YouTube, YouTube, you create a video, they throw it out to 100 people within your audience. If they like it, then they spread it out. And I hope that LinkedIn isn't trying to replicate that either. But it's consistently doing writing the stuff, let's say, stay in your lane to actually make the content work. And what we find a great reach is newsletters. So we've got about just over 2,000 people. We get about maybe 4 or 5 people subscribing every week to our newsletter. But we seem to be get a good reach on that as well. And what I love about that is it's landing in people's emails boxes. It's they're getting it in 2 places. But I think the content level and then video, I know LinkedIn were pushing video, and like I've one client, one of their videos is 2.3 million. They've got a video, yeah, connected on it. Um, so and that's of their workshop, their manufacturing workshop. So it's and then there's other people getting nothing. So it's a mix, a match. Do you think people are getting stuff in their inbox that they don't want to see? Like I'm seeing a lot of crap in mine, and I found an alternative to bypass, and I'll explain that to the audience as well. But do you think people are getting a lot of crap that they're fed up seeing as well?
You mean so by sleazy tactics with automation from people or sponsored messages as well rocking up in your
Sponsored
inbox?
messages, just
Mm.
crap content that's not even worth reading.
Yeah, I've never got that one. I know it's obviously a part of your paid ad strategy of how you can push those messages, but no, I never pay attention to them. As soon as I see the top of it from a company or a paragraph, I remove it. I mean, the best luck I have with DMs is when you treat it like a human conversation, like you would be texting your mate over the phone about the football. It's all about just human connection. I think anything that is, let's say, produced for the masses, automation, and you spray and pray, I just don't think you're going to get the connection you're looking for. And perhaps to tie back to the thought that you spoke about with staying in your lane with your niche specific and solving a problem for one particular group, like I do agree with that for sure, because the deeper and deeper you can get into the pain points that they go through, the frustrations on a daily basis, the more you become that trusted individual in their space for knowing by them that you really understand their world. And when you show you understand someone's world, they're more likely to give you money to help them solve those problems in that world of theirs.
But with the DM, you should treat it like a DM and not treat it like an email. And I think, there was
Yeah.
people sending them like emails, and you kind of go, hold on. There's a question that I get asked a lot, and I'll ask you as well, is when do I tell people, hey, this is how I help people? Or, some people will say you do it right away, and some people say, look, do the intro and then come in later on, maybe 2 or 3 messages saying, hey, look, this is what I do. What's your thoughts on where you position and some people call it a Trojan horse, where do you position yourself in those DMs?
I'd say firstly it depends on what your offer is and also once again who your ICP is. Now, for example, you're targeting founders, CEOs, executives. Perhaps, they don't have as much free time to quickly respond to a message, have a chit chat. So maybe more of that Trojan horse message where, you say, hey, notice you're in X industry. Would you be interested if I could tell you you could achieve X clients or like these results? If you're happy to hear more, like pop a thumbs up and I'll send it over to you. If no, totally okay. I learned that, by the way, from one of my community members. And with that perhaps might work better for them because they are busy and cool. Maybe you'll get a quick yes, cool. Now I know I can send that person the information. Or, for example, with me, with my community, I'm all about first building relationships, giving them almost like love bombing them with micro bits of value, whether it's a document, a quick voice note, or video of something I've seen, and slowly building that trust to the point that they almost come to me because you keep asking about their pain points and slowly keep providing solutions. I think, to be honest, it just comes down to what your offer is. Now, if it's a low ticket offer, eventually it may be quite easy just to ask them after a while straight up, really believe I can help you here. Low ticket offer, 1 month only. That's a lot easier to sell. But with those higher ticket offers, it can be a bit more tricky. And I think that's where you do need to adopt the mindset that your content is a constant thing you have to keep at because someone's only going to DM you when the time is right for them to buy. But if you're not around or haven't been top of mind for let's say, the past 6 months, how are they going to know that you perhaps can be that right person for them to buy? So it is quite tricky, but I always also say whether it's content, whether it's DMs, you need data first to also make decisions. I can tell you what I think is a good post for your profile, but your audience in the end of the day is going to tell you if they actually really like engaged with it. If maybe people brought it up to you in messages, only you can figure that out through trial and error. And that's where, I'm quite against these whole like $1,000 LinkedIn courses where people are selling these courses that obviously have all these promises to them, but they don't even understand your overall situation. Meanwhile, I think everyone needs to approach LinkedIn like a continuous scientific experiment because there's constant things you have to keep tweaking, changing. Maybe I'll go look at each person's profile every day and like their post before messaging them a week after they accepted my invite. So there's all sorts of different ways. I think it's, once again, you have to kind of test a few things and find what frequency and strategy works for you.
Yeah, I think you're spot on as well. I think it is the industry, but it's also what level the person you're speaking to as well. So there could be
Hmm.
one industry where, people don't post, that they don't comment, but you have to DM them to just, nurture them a little. And then there's other industries where, people have the time to chit chat and spend a lot of time. Like it works. Like, we've closed deals worth over 100,000 because of LinkedIn. And you talk about, there's deals there that people make, a grand, 2 grand, and we can say that, we've closed deals worth over 100K, so it works. It works. I think also what I've learned from it as well is it's not the size of the audience anymore. It's the quality of the audience. Like I've got about maybe 16,500 people. And I think the majority of them were 2019 when I was growing my podcast. So I would just connect to everybody and anybody. And then from
Yeah.
2020 on, I started focusing really in on our ICP, which, maybe, that's, there's a bit of a conflict there with LinkedIn going, oh, what's going on
Yeah.
here? But I think you have to keep the repetition going. And even though, there's people there that we would connect with would buy off as maybe 12 months down the road, and we would only connect with them through DMs. And I keep telling people, you may send someone a DM today, and you may send them a DM in 2 weeks, and they don't respond. And you go, oh, what the hell? But we've sent DMs to people, and then a year later, we've sent DMs to them, and we've done business with them.
Yeah.
And as like you and me are in sales, and we know that sometimes you have to contact someone between 8 and 12 times to get a reaction. And
Yeah.
it's the difference between, oh, am I spamming this person? Are they going to be upset? Like if someone tells me to F off, I'm glad they told me to F off because I would never want to do business with them. That's the
Mm,
reality. Or someone gives a smart or smart or something says, oh, I don't want to do business with you. I only am in the position I just want to work with people that there's that synergy with them as well.
mm,
No, no.
mm. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
The
am. Mm.
Go on.
No, no, you go, you go.
Yeah. And through the years of building up business as well, Matt, like we know that if a company takes on their sales system or standard, they, they can grow their business by 33%. And I was thinking about that over the weekend. I said, we've done it so many times, we can guarantee it. If they take everything and do all the things that we say, they can grow their business by 33%. And in some cases, that's thousands and thousands of pounds or your dollars. And then in some cases, it's millions of dollars, depending on. So LinkedIn, it's about credibility, it's about trust, it's
Mm-hmm.
about positioning yourself, it's about not being shy to DM,
Mm-hmm.
but staying active. So I'll ask you a question. I have spoke to people who are terrified of DMing. Why do you think they are?
Well, I think it's look, I can go into all different psychological reasons with an individual or whatnot, but I just think it's the fear of perhaps getting rejected. But I think I know with a sales game, especially how I approach it on LinkedIn, people also never consider the other person other on the other side. So I may DM someone, they may read it, but suddenly their kid may just need, I don't know, just jumped in the swimming pool and have to go save them. You just don't know like what they're doing, and then they get busy and forget to reply. And I think, like you said, that example where you followed up with someone a year later, they became a client. I've had countless scenarios like that, not necessarily became a client, but where they did come back. Like someone sent me a message today where it didn't reply to me and like came back 2 months. I checked the timeline. Now he's asked me to do a collaboration potentially with their business. So like it's a slow burner, and I think most of the time I honestly just think it is people of fear from rejection. But what I can say to everyone listening here is like only that other person's gonna see it. If anything, DMing someone for me is more comfortable than posting because only one person may not reply versus posting out to thousands of people and no one replies.
Tell me, when it comes back to content, how many times do you recommend somebody should content and what sort of content should they post? Testimonials, should they post something that, causes a row within the industry? Should they tell a story? So, what's your thoughts on what content and how many times they should post?
So let's use an example. We have a client of ours in New York, and there's some interesting takeaways that will come from it as well, with maybe also my idea around the psychology of why certain lead magnets also don't work for certain industries. So our client helps financial wealth advisors win business in the LinkedIn DMs. So even though he's not a proper financial advisor on his side and been through the whole ring like them, he knows how to sell as those people on LinkedIn, which is amazing. He's absolutely crushing it. And firstly, on the content side, what we found from him and this whoever's listening, any specific niche that if someone comments on your post and may feel uncomfortable about it, that maybe their boss is going to see it, maybe the industry shouldn't be seeing it. So if our financial wealth advisor perhaps is commenting on our client's post asking for help with how to win more clients, maybe they don't want the rest of their colleagues or peers seeing that. So what might be better is putting a landing page where you then send them to a gated landing page, get their email. We've seen that with multiple different industries there. And where it comes into what to post for content, as I said before on the session, you really need to make sure that you show your ideal clients you understand their world. So, if we're posting, let's say 3 times a week, and you've got your different funnels of content. So, top of funnel could be, let's say now, what financial advisors, let's say the enemy could be like the old school wirehouse sort of way of selling through the old financial firms. And now, as those older boys and girls are in the company teaching the new generation the old tactics, they no longer are relevant anymore. So you constantly need to remind people in your content that this is the old way, but that actually the new way gets you results. But how do you get people to believe what you're stating? Simple. You start writing stories about how a client came to you with XYZ problem or pain or frustration. And now through working with them and through your solution, you've now removed that pain completely from them. I'm going to steal another line from one of my community members, but she says, treat your solution like a vitamin and more so a painkiller. When you give them your solution, it's going to remove that pain. And that's how you got to start seeing your content. So we were having a call with one of our clients on the agency side, done for you, and they're a virtual assistant business. And they help, especially from South Africa into the UK, people that resell cars, so car resellers. And I asked them, what are the biggest gripes and frustrations of someone that resells cars? Usually it's customer service, perhaps like answering the phone, getting back to people. Cool. Now, instead of just writing a post about no longer miss like your calls, like we've got you sort of kind of content, rather put your your feet in the shoes of this user. So in a bit of storytelling. So let's say now I'm speaking to this owner of the car reseller. So instead of going that whole quick, save the calls, we'll make it happen for you. You're walking into your showroom every morning, and every time you sit down, you get a bit frustrated because when you look up, you look at the same car that's been sitting on your floor for 6 months. But if you made sure that you had a good system to follow up with all the potential customer service inquiries or sales calls, you may have had that car already out of your showroom 3 months ago. If you feel like this is you and you're getting frustrated, perhaps we need to chat about my solution. So it's just finding ways to really, in a storytelling way, that gains the attraction when they read the few lines. Where I'm like, damn, Joe really gets me. Like, he can help me with my manufacturing sales process. Like, I'm not selling enough machines, and I know why. And Joe's telling me I know why. I think I should perhaps reach out to him and have a conversation. So I think you really need to hyper focus in on that. And this comes back to the point where we spoke about the are you a content creator or are you a business owner? Because if you're a business owner, that's all you should be doing. Writing messaging for people that are actually going to give you money and then treating LinkedIn like an ecosystem. And just to touch on what I mean there again, make sure you're viewing your profile. Who's viewing your profile? Sorry. Make sure that those people, you're also not leaving money on the table. I mentioned to you before we popped on this call, my post got some really good traction yesterday. I got about 450 people on my profile yesterday from that post. And I've counted on a sheet. I got about 92 people that were my ICP out of that 450. That's cool. I've now connected with 92 people that hopefully once they accept, I can slowly start getting them into my funnel and slowly building a relationship with them. But my mind's then thinking, how do I create content to speak to those people? Because they're the ones giving me money. Everyone else is just a waste of time and it's just noise in your head.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. There's a lot of noise, and there's something there that I have a rule is, always follow up,
Yep.
okay, and always make sure you have an offer,
Yeah.
or offers, because there's two types of people. There's one who want to buy now, and there's people
Yeah.
that are curious who may want to buy later on, and you have to have
Yes.
those offers for them on it. Going back to the profile.
Yes.
The profile is key real estate. I looked at it a long time ago and saw it as a landing page instead of a job profile. The image has to be really important. Like I've seen people that their image looks grumpy, and I've kind of even hesitated, says, well, I reach out to this person, they look narky. And then when I get to know, reach out to them, they're
Okay.
great guys. And I say, you're an image, a picture paints 1,000 words. Change that image because it's horrific. And people want to deal with people that are smiling. The image has to be right. The real estate banner at the back, have some content on that stands out within your
Yeah.
industry. Underneath your name, the title, it's no longer really I'm a founder of. Put something in there like a subtitle, call to action on it. And the other one that I love as well is features. Features you can put in like a landing page button, you can put in to your podcast, you can put in anything in there that the people can direct it to. And I think, and then the about is not more of about you. The about is about how you can help someone on it. So I I think a landing page is crucial and it has to be, you know, positioned right for people to accept your connection. Because if it's no picture, I don't connect with people that have no
Yeah.
pictures.
I fully agree with it. I think Yeah, you got to see also through your content and your profile, you need to strike a fair balance. And it ties into how perhaps the outcome of your DMs comes along, but also the outcome of how people potentially reach out to you inbound. So, as you said, if your account's not truly approachable and perhaps over optimized, over engineered, and trying to be this absolute perfect clean slate, you're arguably going to be less approachable because you perhaps become off a bit more intimidating, etc. I've learned that through my own content myself, and I'm going through another rebrand now and positioning from those learnings. The second learning I feel is if your profile is too clear on what you do and who you help, if you go reach out to all your potential ICP and they see your profile and they see themselves, but it's too sales engineered, they're going to be like, am I going to reply to this person? Because they're probably going to pitch slap me straight away as soon as I reply to them. So it's all about striking that balance. And I like to go back to the whole marketing terminology, not terminology, but method around your message house. And your roof of your message needs to be fairly broad. And slowly but surely through your content, you can go deeper actually in what you do for your ICP. But I think, yeah, unfortunately, there's either people that optimize it way too much, and then I think they off put people, or there's people that don't strike the balance at all, and it's just me, and not about the other person, and people also aren't interested. So I think, yes, make it about the other person, but find a way to make it more friendly and approachable versus I'm going to make you 100K if you sign up with me today and like just like slow it down, like just turn it down a few notches.
I'm laughing there. My dog is showing his back legs. Yeah, I often say it is like dating. You go and you meet someone and just go out for a drink and you get to know each other and then, you date and eventually then you may get engaged and you get married. And that's how the whole marketing game is. And that's what it is. It's marketing. Do you think everyone is on LinkedIn to do business, or are some people on LinkedIn just to read content, or what's your thoughts on that there?
I think more so like a few years back, I'd say there were more people on it to read just content. Let's say where people maybe more just reshared articles and it was a good source to share information. I remember like a good 10 years ago, that's what I used to use LinkedIn for. I used to just read a few articles that people shared from other medium sources. But now I think, yeah, there is quite a lot of people now on it for, I think, the agenda of selling. However, there are certain creators that I also connect with purely because I do enjoy their content and I learn a lot from them. There's a few figures in my industry that I really respect. And what's so nice is I think because the platform is evolving and more people have adopted it, slowly but surely the early adopters are starting to really be challenged by some people that really know their stuff and really know how to grow a personal brand. So I think there are some nice bits of content coming out. I just think we'll probably see a surge of AI for a bit longer, but slowly but surely also I know LinkedIn is filtering out more of that AI content and they're trying to limit the reach where they apparently claim that they can see LLM patterns in your content if you copy and paste it from one of your chat GPTs or Claudes. But let's also be honest. Do we actually believe everything that LinkedIn says as well? Because I don't think at times they understand their own algorithm.
It's interesting as well that, I was watching something on Instagram today and they were saying that, AI, there is a shift in AI at the moment. And one of it is it's saying it's bad for the environment. And that is because of the amount of data centers and all the energy that's using. So it's saying that it's bad for that. And also the big thing is that it's actually damaging our intelligence. People are relying on it too much, so they're losing that creative thinking, critical thinking, that they're actually it'll actually make us dumb. And even where people who were working in AI were telling their friends and their family to stay away from it because of what it
Mm,
does. So you on LinkedIn, you have on your banner, I think is I'll paraphrase it, is the most human person on LinkedIn. And I think that's
wins, yeah.
important. Yeah. And I and
Yeah,
I
I agree with you. I fully agree. Like half my friends I drive with these days, none of them can get to A to B without a GPS because they've become so reliant on technology. It's embarrassing. Like, just think like, yeah, I fully agree with you. I, I'm a big advocate still. That's why I love coaching because I think it's a great way to learn and connect with people and also arguably make myself sharper as a coach in what I do for future people and clients. But I think, yeah, when you rely too heavily on it for your original thinking, I think that's where, yeah, it's not good. I mean, I am a fairly frequent AI user, but I also read like a ton of books
Yeah.
because they're written by real people. I know you're touching base on some of the books you've written as well. And that's a practice I'll do no matter what, as let's say a creative entrepreneur in the content space, is it's also good to detach from all this AI and practice more long-term concentration on in a book. That's for me. My mate's like, why don't you get a tablet? I'm like, no, no, no. We're just going to keep a book for one thing.
The one thing that I sort of now am focusing on as part of sales is self-awareness.
Hmm.
And the self-awareness is that part of us that makes the decisions. It's instead of reacting, it's responding. It's becoming a better communicator. It's been able to read a room, see around corners. It's about tapping into that, consciousness. And
Mm,
sometimes all our greatest answers are within, and we need just to step away from the digital world, take a moment, ask ourselves that question, and then sit with it, and the answer will come up for what to do next. And where the AI, it's seductive, it's addictive, it's instant, and people are thriving in this, and then they're just jumping on it instead of going, hold on, let me take a step back. Like we're writing some copy for one of our clients, and we've used a bit of AI to trash through the transcripts, but I spent, you know, probably a whole morning just sitting down, looking at the hooks and switching the words of the hooks or the subtitles, and because I believe like we can write better copy by doing this than just dumping it into AI then as well. Because I
mm,
think there's
mm, mm, mm.
an energy that is created from it. There's a guy actually who is Thomas Garman he's in the UK, and he's writing about it about I think how it's going to turn people's brains into mush. And also what's coming out now that AI is it profitable? And the answer is no, because all these companies are spending so much money, but they're outspending by what they're getting in. And AI also is set up with the algorithms, so you keep spending money, so they keep
Mm.
trying to make money. And it's they're telling you you're great, you're wonderful, you're brilliant, this is insightful, where it's not being subjective to your thoughts. So yeah, pen, paper, keyboard, write how you feel, and
Yeah.
if you need, get AI to check the grammar on it.
Yeah, and I think when it checks it, be ask it to be like on ChatGPT. When I used to use that before Claude, is you say you're a ruthless like leader in this business, like you're helping me check XYZ. You're a senior professional in the copywriting space. I want you to call out any like discrepancies or anything that may be wrong. And I think people also don't input it right. I would love to almost see a statistic around like the level of like I don't know how to put this, but how smart people actually are with the inputs, because I guarantee you half the people posting this AI slop, their inputs are probably so like shallow. Then they
Write,
don't go deep enough
write
to
me a
get,
post.
yeah, the worst.
Have we left anything out?
No, I think it's all this AI and stuff. I think the one important part is look for things that can help you and tools that can help you to speed up what you can do human. And what I mean by that is like, let's say, for example, whisper flow. So, if you want to comment on someone's post, rather just voice like it's easy then. And it still is you giving your authentic thoughts. But I think leverage tools in a way that allow you to keep those pockets of time of human interaction that need to stay human essentially. And I think yeah, I sometimes just wonder why people overthink content so much, specifically on LinkedIn, because your clients give you so many ideas every day. You just got to practice one or two formulas and just keep speaking to those people's pain points. People just unfortunately get stretched here, there, and everywhere because this creator now said this, or I need this buzzword. And I think people just need to stick with it long enough. I argue, I don't know what you agree with this, but
Yeah, I'm sort of, if I write a post now, I will sit with it for a day. So
yeah.
where I used to write a post every day, I'm now trying to write 3 posts a week. Now I also then send out my podcast, so that's content for 4 days, and we're looking, the newsletter, but and then from the podcast we'll maybe do a short. So it could be 5 days, but 3 posts that I'm actually spending time on taking a step back, and from conversations I'm having with clients and trying to just go, okay, this is something that's noteworthy. But I've often wrote posts that I've gone, this is the best stuff that I've ever written. And it resonates, but it hasn't got anything. So I'm gonna go, are people not mad? Are they not mad listening to this? This is crucial to their business, and you just laugh at it. Um, if anyone is looking at their news feed, one of the things that you should check as well, go up into the top left-hand corner and you'll see search, type in posts. When you type in the posts, you'll get a box which will go, people, posts, events, right across, and swing over to the right and you hit filters and you click on that and you can scroll down and in it'll go post within the last 7 days, first connections, and you could put your industry in it as well. And then your news feed will get detailed of your first connections that have wrote posts in the last, 7 days, 24 hours, and then you can read them. You remove all the extra muck that's out there, and you can start commenting on people's posts as well.
Mhm. I think off the back of that, Joe, it's like, yeah, when you come onto the platform, come on with intent. And like that intent is you're here to build relationships and win deals. And I think just like that, with that approach now with a filter, it's doing things like that that just allow you that when you're spending time on LinkedIn, you're focused on the right things. Because I think so many people get caught up in all these buzzwords and these tricks and this and that. And meanwhile, everyone has a different niche. Yes, you can get some advice on how to write better copy, position better, but you need someone to help you, or if you're good enough holding yourself accountable, you need to have just that sense of like consistency. Because as cliche as it sounds, that consistency eventually does bring some form of clarity around what's actually working and what's not working with your offer. Because the more people you speak to, the more and more you're going to refine it to really speak to those right people.
Yes, and as this LinkedIn Live is about, being recognized as the expert in your industry, LinkedIn is a great way of doing it. It's about building trust, it's about credibility, because if someone's going to do business with you, chances are they're going to go onto your LinkedIn profile. They're going to have a look at it. They're going to look at your posts. They're going to look at if you have newsletters. So all these things contribute to a wider picture, which is the ecosystem of who you are. And
Hmm.
if you then start to become that expert, that credibility in your industry, it makes the decision a lot easier for your client as well.
I think, Joe, just one last thing. If you look at like real estate agents and whatnot back in the day, like it was more relationships, go have tea, go walk around the house. And let's say now slowly but surely things are moving in a way online first, meet in person second. Now, if you had a marketing agency and you had your biggest client come into your office, you'll make sure the drinks are there, everything's clean, everything's presented well. Like in this modern world, why aren't you doing the same for your profile? Like it's literally like you need to view it like that. Like then business cards came, then websites came. No one wanted to share their business card with their website link on if their website was rubbish. Same thing now with LinkedIn, I feel it's going. And especially the more we go into this AI, don't know if you've seen it as well, all websites are looking the same now as well. So like the only
But
thing that you can control is you, your story.
but even you look at people are using images to create stuff on LinkedIn. it's the same text, it's the same pop, the same explosion. Do you know that? And you kind of go,
Yeah.
it's just generic on it. Yeah, no, I think there's a great future. I think people have to be different. And if you can be the person that thinks outside the box, step away from all the slop and the generic and be you, it'll, it'll work. Like I've interviewed probably more people on LinkedIn. I've built a great network of people through my podcasting, and the majority of those people I've got through interview through LinkedIn as well. So for as a networking platform, it's a thumbs up for me. For an algorithm, it's a thumbs down on it.
Hopefully LinkedIn listens into this one.
Listen to that. Matt, thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate it, Joe. Thank you.